They say the Numidium is a contradiction. They say the Numidium is just a giant robot. They say the Numidium is anti-existence, the argument of anti-existence. Some say the Numidium is the argument for the anti-mundus, the anti-orbis, the argument against the creation itself. They say the Dwemer built the Numidium to be an ark to ferry them from the orbis to outside of it. They say the Numidium is for a lot of things. What is the Numidium? It's a big, colossal construct created by the Dwemer, the underground elven mare, and some sources say they built it so that it could retake Resdane from the Chimera, but I don't think that's actually true, because, I doubt they care. I doubt they care that the Chimera are on Resdane. It's like, if this thing is to do what some other sources claim it can do, there's no reason to use it to stop the Chimera, because they're not going to be here to care whether the Chimera are here or not. It's like, they don't want to be here on Tamriel anymore. They don't want to be in another creator's creation, if that makes sense. They don't want to be in another creator's creation. They want to be the creators of creation. They want to be their own deities. They don't want to be subject to any Aedra or Daedra or Anu or Padme. They don't want to be subject to any of that stuff. They acknowledge that all of these guys exist. They acknowledge that some of them may have had a hand in creating the Grey, maybe. They acknowledge that all of this happened, but they don't care. They're not gonna brown nose you. They're not gonna suck up to you. They just think you're a bunch of bickerers who keep bickering over what's creation supposed to be like. Is there supposed to be time? Is there not supposed to be time? Is there supposed to be mortality? Is there not supposed to be mortality? Elves and Mer fighting over and over and over, and they're just tired of it. They're just sick of it. They're just sick of the schemes of the Daedra. They're sick of the schemes and wars of the Aedra. They're sick of the Men and Mer fighting each other. They're just sick of it. They're tired of it. And they want to leave. So they create this thing to leave, to go away, to say bye-bye Mundus, bye-bye Tamriel, bye-bye Chimera, it's been fun, but the Hortator and the King Dumac, our friendship's gotta go bye-bye, it's time to go, we're going somewhere else, we're done here, bye-bye, we're out. And if you read some sources, Lord Kagranak, the chief tonal architect, who created this thing, this project, if you believe some sources, they say he created it in secret, and that King Dumac was not privy to this creation, and that he wasn't privy to the reason for this creation's creation. But then, something this big, I doubt that Dumac wouldn't know about it. But then again, if we know what we know about the Dwemer from Skyrim, for example, that's why you're looking at the case for Skyrim right now. Then again, I don't have a physical case of Morrowind to be showing off or anything about Morrowind. But then again, the Dwemer tend to make their underground bastions as separate city-states, right? And they don't necessarily have a chief overall arcing king. Then again, what Dumac is king of, I don't know. Maybe he's just king of the Morrowind Dwemer, and that the Dwemer in Skyrim do not subject themselves to him. But if that's the case, then what the heck was Kagranak doing? It's like, is this a separate argument? Like, each city-state has their own thing that they want to do. They had wars over Ethereum, a metal in Skyrim. I don't know who wrote that story. But they have their own ideas that they're going on about, that they're trying to do. And Kagranak may have been acting alone. The disappearance of the Dwemer is their is a mystery that many writers at the time, like the Holy Trinity during the Morrowind era, the Holy Trinity of Ken Ralston, Kurt Coleman, and Michael Kirkbride, the Holy Trinity of writers said that you should never really explain what happened to these guys. It should always remain a mystery. And the same thing is to be said about the Numidium, the reason for its existence, why it exists, how it breaks time, what is it, what it does, how it does it, where it does it, why it does it, what it's made of, how it was made, anything and everything about it should remain a mystery, for to explain the Numidium is to defeat the purpose of what the Numidium is. And of course the Numidium was also brought back in Kirkbride's Coda. He comes back and in the 5th era and starts rampaging over all of creation, all of Tamriel, not just the Somerset and the Myr, but everything. It gets attacked this time. And so the Dunmer and some of the Khajiits, they escape to the moon. Space age stuff right there, all on the moon. The Numidium's going crazy down there. I've read the synopsis for Coda, and I still need to reread it and reread it and reread it, because that's just how these things are. It's like, especially with Shore, Son of Shore, I read it, and then I had to read it again, and I found new things. I had to read it again, and I found some new things. And I read it again, and each time I got new information about the Kalpa and all this stuff. He's like, you're reading it, and you just gloss over a lot of things. You're glossing over some stuff as you're following one train of thought, but there are tons of trains of thought in that one single paragraph that you can't focus on all of it. You're focusing on just one of them, and then you have to read it again, and you find another train of thought in there, and you read it again, and you find another one. That's like what the Numidium is in Coda, and all these other things besides going on in Coda. So you can't just read it once or twice like I did and try to figure it out. So I'm still clueless as to what's going on there. The Numidium, whenever it's used, tends to break time. It was also written on Alduin's wall in Skyrim. So who knows when the Alduin's wall was written, but it apparently had to have been written prior to Red Mountain's fight. You know, it's like they had to have written it prior to, or right after, actually, after the Red Mountain fight, because the Nords would know of the Numidium then. But it's a little bit messy there. I don't exactly know how, or if anybody wrote anything to explain Alduin's wall in that regards, but the Numidium is on the wall. It's there. And apparently the Numidium has the power to reshape time. And at least I can explain what that is. Like, for example, in Daggerfall, before all of the complex lore about the Numidium was made, the Numidium as a concept, as a construct, existed. And it was something that Tiber Septim used to conquer Somerset Isles. And then you meet Zurin Arctis, the Underking, in Daggerfall, and one of the endings is you can give the Mantella to Zurin Arctis, but either way, the ending to all of them involves the Numidium in some way, shape, or form. And they have, as you know, caused the Dragon Break. The Dragon Break is a complication. And obviously it reshaped time. It reshaped it, so that's technically what the Nords predicted it would do, and that is exactly what it did. It reshaped time. Time was linear, and then it reshaped it, and events happened that could not have happened simultaneously, and yet they all did simultaneously. So every ending that happened in Daggerfall happened at the same time. That's why we have 2 Mana Marcos. That's why we have, maybe we have a Zurin Arctis that's still out there, and a Zurin Arctis that ascended. Maybe we'll have another Zurin Arctis out there, like we have Mana Marco, and this Zurin Arctis Underking is going to still be around somehow, some way, for some reason. Maybe in ES6 we might find the Zurin again in Hammerfell, if it's in Hammerfell, or in High Rock, if it's in High Rock. Daggerfall was in both of those areas. It's in that general area. So maybe we may see Zerun Arctis again, since it's a Dragon Break. Since we have two Metamarcos, one that's the mortal that never got the Mentella, and then one that achieved apotheosis. So clearly we're probably going to have a Zerun Arctis that disappeared because he gave him the Mentella, and a Zerun Arctis that didn't disappear because he didn't give him the Mentella. So maybe there's going to be a Zerun Arctis somewhere. Maybe. I don't know. And maybe Zerun Arctis can finally tell us some truths, some secrets, some lore. Maybe we'll get some questions answered if we can find him. You know, who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Either way, the Numidium and this wizard, Zerun Arctis, they have a fight at the end of Typer Septim's usage of it, and they both vanish. The Numidium comes back in Daggerfall, and then it's gone again. And it depends on what you know, what you look about it, what you read about it, what happened to it, where it is. Is it going to be rebuilt again? Has it been warped through time? Has it been warped forward through time, kind of like Alduin was? Who knows? Who knows at this point? There might be more than one Numidium now, because every time the Numidium is made, time breaks. Maybe there's more than one. Maybe one's been flown into the future in Coda, Kirkbride's Coda. Maybe there's another one that caused the Dragon Break here. Maybe there's another one somewhere else. Maybe they're all different Numidiums that all can break time, and every time time is broken, there's more fracturing. There's more versions of deities who have different memories of different things. The Elder Scrolls cannot even look through these dragon breaks. It's a madness. It's a madness. I hate the dragon breaks, if you don't realize. And the Numidium is part of the reason why I hate dragon breaks, because it just things can't make sense. And the lore can't make sense when we have so many dragon breaks and so many contradicting things. We can wipe away a lot of the contradicting lore as just saying this is just how these cultures came up with these stories in their own isolated areas over hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. But stories like the Dragon Break, which is fairly recent, we might have some people still alive, who, like high elves, who were still alive when Daggerfall happened, you know, and maybe they have conflicting memories of what's going on there. There's a book called Where Were You When the Dragon Broke? Manamarco has a line in it, and he says some weird stuff saying that the high elves caused it or whatever. It's like, it's a mess. It's a mess. It's just, Manamarco's been involved in more than one Dragon Break, if I remember rightly. I don't know. But it's the Numidium, I hope it never comes back in a game. I honestly hope it never comes back. Because if it ever does, we're probably going to get another Dragon Break, and that's just another nightmare that we're going to have to pick our brains through. But yeah, the Numidium it was just interesting to me. I was thinking about it just at the top of my head and decided to record this right off the top of my head. And it's like, the core concept of this thing is like anti-existence. At least that's why I think it is. It's anti-existence. It is the physical embodiment of the word no. The Numidium stares you straight in the face and would say that you don't exist. And it will make such a compelling argument about that you'll just vanish. You'll find yourself agreeing with the Numidium and you'll vanish. Or you could find yourself looking the Numidium in the face and saying, nah, I exist, bro. And maybe you'll achieve apotheosis that way. Maybe that's how all these people are getting apotheosis is because the Numidium's anti-existence energy is clashing with your I exist energy, and you'll get Kim somehow, or you'll achieve one of the walking ways. None of this stuff is set in stone, after all, so we don't know how any of this works. But either way, every time this thing has been used, time has broken and people have ascended to godhood, so if it comes back, it's gonna happen again.